Right now, there's a video going around telling seniors that Social Security paper checks get cut off this September. That's wrong. That deadline already passed, over a year ago. And if a video is getting that wrong, what else is it getting wrong? So today we're going through every real September deadline hitting Social Security and Medicare, checked against the actual government sources, not copied from the last guy's script. Some of these you've probably never heard of. One of them could cost you money if you miss it by even a single day. Let's get into it. Start with that paper check myth, because it matters. The rule came from an executive order back in 2025. The real cutoff was September 30th, 2025, not this year. As of that date, the Treasury stopped mailing most federal benefit checks, including Social Security. If you already made the switch, none of this touches you. But here's the part almost nobody says out loud. The Social Security Administration is still chasing down stragglers right now, in 2026. If you're one of the small number of people still waiting on a paper check, you're not early to this deadline. You're already past it. And every payment from here forward is at risk of getting delayed or stopped outright. There are still two fixes. Set up direct deposit through your My Social Security account at ssa.gov or call 1-877-874-6347 for a Direct Express debit card. If you genuinely can't use either, no bank, no way to get a prepaid card, that same number handles hardship waivers through the Treasury. But you have to ask for it. Nobody's calling you first. Now, here's one that's real, and it's landing in mailboxes right now. Every Medicare Advantage and Part D plan has to mail you an annual notice of change by September 30th. This one letter spells out how your plan is changing for 2027. Costs, drug coverage, which doctors stay in network. Most people glance at it, assume it's junk mail, and toss it. That habit is expensive. Here's what to actually check. First, your medications against the new drug list. Insurance companies shuffle drugs into higher cost tiers every year, and jumping from Tier 2 to Tier 4 can mean $50 to $100 more per month for that one prescription. Second, your doctors. Network changes take effect January 1st, so if your doctor's getting dropped, you need to know before October 15th. That's when open enrollment opens and your real window to switch plans starts. Third, your premium. Even a small increase adds up fast over a year. And here's something worth knowing while you're reading that letter. Medicare's prescription drug out-of-pocket cap moved up slightly for 2026 to $2,100. Hit that number in drug costs, and your plan covers the rest of the year at no extra charge. It's a real safety net. But only if the ANOC shows your specific drugs are actually covered well on that plan. If any of it is confusing, there are free counselors for exactly this. They're called SHIP counselors. Call 1-800-MEDICARE to get connected to one in your state. And do it in September, before the October rush hits. Here's the second thing a lot of these videos get wrong. You'll hear that your Q3 over-the-counter allowance disappears for good on September 30th, no exceptions. That's not true for every plan, and getting it wrong either costs you real money or sends you into a needless panic-buying spree. Some plans really do reset every quarter. And yes, that balance is gone the second October starts. But plenty of other plans let the balance carry all year, and it only disappears on December 31st. Plans are not required to work the same way, so don't guess based on what some video told you. Call the number on the back of your OTC card and ask one specific question. Does my balance expire quarterly, or does it run through the end of the year? Then act on the real answer. If it turns out you are on a quarterly plan and there's money sitting there, spend it this month. Vitamins, blood pressure monitors, first aid supplies, dental care items, Most of that usually qualifies. Now let's talk about the number that decides how much bigger your check gets in January. Every year, Social Security calculates your raise using 3 months of inflation data: July, August, and September. July and August are already locked in. September is happening right now, which means what prices do this month is literally shaping next year's raise. Independent analysts are currently projecting somewhere between 3.4 and 3.6%. On today's average retirement benefit of around $2,090, that would add roughly $70 to $75 a month. The Social Security Administration announces the official number on October 14th. Sounds like good news, right? Here's the part almost nobody connects to it. The income levels where your Social Security starts getting taxed: $25,000 for single filers, $32,000 for married couples, haven't moved since the 1980s and 90s. They're froze. They don't rise with inflation, and they don't rise with your COLA. So every time your check gets bigger, you edge closer to a tax bill you never used to owe. If your income from everything else, plus half your Social Security, sits within a couple $1,000s of those numbers, that new raise could be exactly what pushes you over. There is one thing working in your favor that most people don't know about. A new deduction from last year's tax law gives people 65 and older up to $6,000 off their taxable income, $12,000 for a married couple where both spouses qualify. But, and this is the part that gets left out, it isn't for everyone. It starts shrinking once your income passes roughly $75,000 single or $150,000 married, and disappears completely above that. So before you assume that deduction cancels out the tax trap, run your actual numbers once the official COLA lands in October. Moving to something a lot of retirees miss entirely: property taxes. If you're 65 or older and own your home, most states run some version of a program that lowers your bill. An exemption, a frozen assessment, a deferral. Nearly every state has something like this, and most eligible homeowners have never applied, simply because nobody told them it existed. The deadlines are unforgiving, too. A lot of counties cut off applications somewhere between August and October, which means right now in a lot of places. Miss it, and you're paying full price for another entire year, with no way to claw that money back. The number you need is sitting on your last property tax bill. Call your county assessor's office this week and ask 2 questions. What senior programs do you offer, and what's the deadline to apply? If you get income without any tax already withheld, IRA withdrawals, rental income, a pension, self-employment work, September 15th is your next quarterly estimated tax payment. Miss it, and the penalty runs at roughly 8% a year, which adds up fast. And since that new $6,000 senior deduction changes what you actually owe, this is the moment to recalculate, not just repeat whatever you paid last quarter. You might be sending in more than you need to, or if your income climbed this year, you could be underpaying and setting yourself up for a bigger bill next April. Last one, and this is genuinely new, not a repeat of last year's list. On August 11th, Social Security added 14 new conditions to something called the Compassionate Allowances Program. It's a fast lane for disability claims. A normal disability application can take 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer. A condition on this list can get approved in days. The new additions include serious diagnoses: Aicardi syndrome, Lafora disease, and primary cardiac sarcoma are among them, alongside several rare genetic and neurological conditions. That brings the full list to 314 conditions. If you or someone in your family got a serious diagnosis recently, or you're already sitting in a slow review queue, it's worth 2 minutes to check the list at ssa.gov under Compassionate Allowances. If the condition's on there, call Social Security and specifically ask for the claim to be reviewed under that program. That one sentence can be the difference between waiting months and waiting days. Here's the pattern sitting underneath every one of these. None of this is secretly hidden from you. The letter gets mailed, the number gets published, the deadline is public record. But every one of these systems is built the same way. The money, or the faster approval, or the tax break only shows up if you're the one who picks up the phone first. Nobody is chasing you down to hand it over. So that's September, laid out the way it actually works, not the way it keeps getting repeated. Your Medicare letter needs a real read, not a glance. Your paper check deadline already came and went, so don't wait if you're one of the ones still stuck. Your OTC card rules depend on your specific plan, so call and ask instead of guessing. This month's spending is quietly setting next year's raise, and that raise might tax you for the first time. Your property taxes have a closing window most people never open. September 15th is a real deadline if you owe quarterly tax, and there's a faster path to disability benefits for 14 more conditions than there was 2 weeks ago. Write down the ones that actually apply to you and make one phone call today. If this helped, stick around. There's more of this every week.